Good day to all of you, networking enthusiasts and hobbyists and professionals. We are now on domain name system or DNS. We're going to talk about DNS, which is one of the most important component kapag kayo ay nagne-networking, especially if you are connecting to the internet. Okay? Dahil ang DNS, from the name itself, domain name system, sometimes they call it domain name server or service. Kailangan natin 'to para magkaroon tayo ng translation from, say, a particular domain name to an IP address. Okay? Dahil ang network natin ay hindi niya kilala yung pangalan. So, say for example, you want to go to google.com and syempre, ita-type mo www.google.com. The network doesn't know about google.com. Ang alam niya is the IP address of google.com. So, in order to translate that to an IP address, kailangan natin yung kailangan natin si DNS para magamit natin o ma-translate natin yung domain name into that particular IP address. Okay? So, without further ado, let's start with the DNS. Okay, now let's talk about ito yung network na ginagamit natin ng mga nakaraang panahon, no? About other topics. Now we're going to use this again. But this time we're going to talk about DNS with this network. Now, for example, PC2 would like to connect to, say, google.com. Alright? So, google.com. www. Sumobra yata yung W ko. Tatlong W lang. Google.com. Okay? So, kakonect siya dyan. But the problem here is, ang network natin and other networks, even the internet, doesn't know about google.com. Okay? Kasi ito ay isang pangalan. This is domain name. Ang alam ng mga networks ay yung IP address that is equivalent to this or associated to this. Okay? So, paano natin magagawa na makipag-communicate with google.com with an IP address if we know only google.com? Kasi mahirap naman talagang tandaan yung IP address lang. 'Di ba? Mas madaling tandaan yung google.com, yahoo.com, facebook.com, etc. Okay? So, dito ngayon papasok si DNS or what we call the domain name system, or sometimes this is called domain name service. Okay, so ang DNS is actually meron siyang server at meron siyang clients. Okay. Now, yung server is the one that provides the information about a particular domain. At yung client naman, ito naman yung nanghihingi ng information to a particular, about a particular domain. Okay, so say for example, PC2 wants to go to google.com. So, ang kailangan niya lang gawin is to get to a DNS server. Alright, and the DNS server will resolve the domain name to its associated IP address. And okay na. So, si PC2 can now get to that server, the Google server for example, and mag-browse na siya kung ano pa man yung gusto niyang gawin doon. Okay? Now, what if the DNS server does know about the resolution of the IP address of google.com? So actually, ang gagawin niya is to connect to another DNS server. And kung hindi pa rin yan ma-resolve on on this DNS server, this will go to another DNS server and so on and so forth. Okay, so say for example that this DNS server is already enough and it has information about google.com. This will reply to this first DNS server, and this DNS server will actually cache. Na ilalagay niya doon sa cache memory niya yung information that was given to it by another DNS server. Bakit niya nilalagay sa cache? Para kapag meron pang ibang nagtanong, for example, PC1 asked about google.com on this same DNS server, this DNS server, let us say this is DNS server 1, this is DNS server 2. So DNS server 1 will not anymore ask about google.com on server 2. Okay? Kasi naka-save na siya. That information is saved already in the cache of the server 1. Nakuha? So, yan yung purpose ng DNS server. It will resolve the domain name into its IP address equivalent. Okay? At ang buong internet is actually composed of thousands and thousands of DNS server that will help us resolve the domain name into an IP address. Actually, hindi lang naman yung domain name ang nire-resolve niya. No? Kung meron ka halimbawang IP address naman and you want to know the domain name, ibig sabihin baliktad. No? If you want to resolve the domain name using an IP address, the DNS server can also do that. All right? Okay, ngayon. Ang DNS server actually can be placed as an internal server. So let us say you have an internal DNS server, okay, on your local network. So ang gagawin lang ni PC2 is to connect to that internal server, which acts as a DNS server. And actually this internal DNS server is connected remotely to another DNS server outside of the internet. Kasi kung ito ay nasa loob lang ng network mo, how come that this can resolve other IP addresses to that millions of domain names? No? So it must somehow connect to a remote DNS outside of its network. So say for example, doon sa internet, meron tayong DNS server dyan, and it works in tandem with your internal DNS server. And of course, this is connected to several more DNS server para kapag meron siyang gustong i-resolve at wala doon sa cache niya, pupunta siya doon sa iba pang DNS server. So this is a very important part of the internet, the DNS. All right? So that's how the server and clients work. No? Tatandaan lang po natin ang DNS server is the one that giving the information to the one that is seeking it, which is yung ating client. So for example, PC2 is the one that is inquiring about an IP address of a particular domain name. This become a DNS client, and this is your DNS server. But if this DNS server seeks out the IP address of a particular domain on another DNS server, this DNS becomes a client to the server, and so on and so forth. Okay? So yun yung concept ng DNS natin. Now, let's talk about the DNS records. Yan. Alam nyo ba na napakaraming laman ng DNS server? No? Yung records niya, napakarami. Ngayon, kung gaano karami, hindi ko nabilang. Pero napakarami niya talaga. Pero ito yung mga pinaka-importanting part ng DNS or the DNS records. These are the most important and the most common types of records or DNS records. So, unahin natin yung A records. Ang tawag natin dito sa A record is address record. Okay? Address records. At take note, ang address records talks about the IP version 4 address of a domain. Okay, ang tawag natin is A records or the address records. Okay? While yung quadruple A naman is also address records. Okay? Yun nga lang, this address records ay hindi IP version 4. This is for IP version 6. So yung IP version 6 equivalent ng isang domain. Okay, so this is an IP version 6 address. MX stands for mail exchange. Okay, mail exchange. At ginagamit naman ito for email addresses. Okay, so yung, for example, if you would like to email, say Gmail ang gamit mo, pero ang ini-email mo is Yahoo, okay? So the mail exchange will be the one responsible for that, yung resolution of those domains from one domain or one email domain to another. That is the MX or the mail exchange. Okay, the C name, ibig sabihin naman ng C, actually it's C name, but C is what we call the canonical name. Okay? Ibig sabihin ng canonical, minsan kasi ganito yan. Say for example, we want to get to facebook.com. Alright? Facebook.com. But actually, this is just an alias. Na alias lang yan. Ibig sabihin, that's not the true domain name of Facebook. This could be, say, www.facebook-1.com or facebook-2.com. This is the real name. No? Yun nga lang, ang ginagamit natin usually is the canonical name. So, canonical name is like an alias to a particular or an exact domain name. Okay? So, ang tawag naman natin dyan is the C name. All right? And then we have the PTR or point to record. Okay? Point to record or the PTR. Ang PTR naman, ganito ang nangyari, di ba? Pagka DNS, di ba, sabi natin kanina, if you want to say go to google.com, ang regular na ginagawa ng DNS is to resolve this to an IP address, correct? Now, ang PTR naman or the point to record, baliktad naman siya. If you know the IP address of a particular domain, but you don't know the domain, so pwede nating i-resolve yung domain niya. No? So, say you have an IP address for a particular domain and you don't know the domain name, ang PTR will resolve that. So, say for example, yan, google.com. Okay? Yan. So, ang tawag naman natin dyan is the PTR. Alright? So, those are the types of the DNS records and mamaya or on the next video, mamaya talaga. No? Kasi mamaya ako na ito gagawin. Okay? Sa next video natin, makikita natin yung mga DNS records. And paano natin i-verify kung ano yung mga IP addresses of this particular domains and vice versa, say using the PTR. Malalaman din natin yung IP version 6 address, yung mail exchange, and the canonical names. Alright? So I hope nakatulong sa inyo to in understanding DNS, and I will see you on the next videos. Thank you very much for watching.